Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This session we are going to talk about to create the multiple EC2 instance with the different availability zones. Okay, now I'm using London region, uh, US2A, US2, but within the region we have three availability zones, 2A and 2B and 2C. Now I would like to create each availability zone having the one EC2 instance. Okay. If you observe my code, I'm using the provider for AWS and the region I'm declaring as a variable. I am not specifying any value directly, hard-coded value into the specific argument. So if you look at var.aws region, if you go and see here the variable which I have a one more file called variable.tf, inside variable dot specifying as a this is a variable and the AWS region, the default region name I'm taking as a US2A, that is for the London region. Okay. If you look at the profile also, where that profile, if you go back and see the variable section again, if you can see this is the variable profile and the default value is my AWS. So what is mean by profile? So I'm not specifying any my access key, secret key authentication here. So I'm using the profile. There is a different ways to authenticate my local machine to AWS. One is for the static and other static means we are going to pass the authentication keys hard code value into the .tf file. The other one would be the environment variable to export the environment variable. That is the second one. The other one would be the shared credential. By shared credential, I'm creating as a profile by using AWS CLI. So my profile name I'm specifying as here my AWS. So I already covered this one. I make it as one video. It's already available on my channel. If I would suggest to please go ahead and watch the video, and also I'll keep that link into my description, so you can follow that one. Okay. And if you look at the below, I'm taking as a resource to create the EC2 instance. If you look at the syntax AWS instance, that's the logical name which I am using to create the EC2 instance. So if you look at here, taking as a couple of arguments, and one would be the AMI and instance type and key name and count, VPC secret group, subnet ID, and the tags is nothing but it's not argument, tags. Tag is nothing but to find out the environment easily. Okay. So if you look at the AMI, which I'm taking for the argument, where that EC2 AMI, again, if you go back and see, this is a variable which I'm calling as a variable EC2 underscore AMI. This is the default AMI which I'm going to take to create the EC2 instance. And then look at the instance type T2 micro, which I'm using. If you go back and see, this is the instance type argument, but I'm taking as a where.ec2 instance. If you come here, you can see this is the particular T2 micro which I am using for the variable. Okay. Again, the key pair, where that is to key pair. If you go and see here, my key pair is YouTube. That's my key pair to log into the EC2 account without giving the. If you don't specify the particular key pair, it will come up with a default, but you can't log in. But you can create the server, but you can't log into server. Why? Because so that's why we have to always keep the variables. That's the best way to manage the infrastructure. So what are the what are the arguments which you want? We want to keep it. That is always best practice. Okay. If you look at the count, so count is basically this is a meta argument. Count we can use for the specific resource level or the module level. Why we count? Basically it lose to if you want to create a one resource, we can create by using resource, but if we want to create the same resource with multiple times, means we have to use the count. So based on the count, if we say that we have to count is something like a data type is a number. So if you give the value 1 or 2, it will create one resource. If you specify 2, it will create a 2 resource. If you specify 3, so by using same syntax, so we don't want to create a one more resource with a different syntax. For example, if you want to create one more EC2 instance, again, how we are going to create? Let's say if you come down here, take it as a keep it as a one resource different name. So we are going to create such a way. So we don't want to use this syntax again. So such a way, if you want to create one more resource again, you take the index syntax and go again. So we have to do such a way. This is lengthy process. So it means we are going to keep it as creating multiple resources to create the same EC2 instance or different EC2 instance, but always going with the best approach is count is a meta argument to create the multiple resources. So if you look at the value here, where dot EC2 count, if you go and see the EC2 count, so I'm using as a here, if you look at see here, variable EC2 counts, the data type I'm using as a number. Why? Because we need to specify the number to create the multiple EC2 instance. But we need to know how many EC2 instance you want to create. But I would like to go with one. Then later, so once finished, I'll go with one. Then I'll go with the two, three. We'll go with three or four, five, six. Okay. But if I'm taking as one at the moment. Okay, that is a sesic argument and the VPC. Okay, if you look at the VPC, this is the argument which is available. If you go, if you want to know what is the arguments which is available, this is the E- AWS EC2 instance to create the EC2. If you scroll up, this is the normal basic syntax to create the EC2 instance. If you scroll down below, these are the arguments which is available. If you look at the argument references, the following arguments are supported for the EC2 instance. If you come down, AMI availability zone, there's a lot, there is a few is available. So we can take it. We want to use which one we want. Okay, this is the one which I am using, and subnet also which I am using. The few of them which I am using, AMI also I am using, and subnet instance type also I am using, key name also I am using. Okay, I'm using few of them, but it's depend upon. If you want to use one more one, you just need to add one more here, like this way. Okay, so here actually, if you look at the, this is the argument, but this syntax is a security group. This is basically what I'm trying to say. I want to create a EC2 instance. I want to create a EC2 instance. In the EC2 instance, I want to attach one security group. So if you look at this syntax, I have one more file which is called sg.tf. If you look at sg.tf, inside what is trying to, this is one more resource which I'm using to create the security group. And see, ingress means, so to, let's say for example, you have created the EC2 instance, but I want to log into the EC2 instance. The firewall is, ingress is nothing but inbound firewall and outbound firewall. Inbound firewall is called ingress, the outbound is egress. So I want to log in at 22 is the default behavior of the SSH to an SSH connection for the EC2 instance by using putty. So for Linux environment, so I'm taking as a 22 port, and the egress is outward. So I don't want to keep anything specific, and I'll keep it at 0. The CID and 00 I'm keeping, but so if you have a keys available, you can log in anywhere within the world. Okay, so you can. That's the way taking the creating the issue to creating the security group. So now what now I'm at so now we have two resources. So EC2 server creation is one resource. This is the security group resource is different, two resource. This is the different resource. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to associate for the security group to uh, EC2 instance. Okay, so how we are going to do, this is the way. So this is the attribute, and this is the syntax which I'm using, AWS security group and the resource name, and this is the logical name EC2-SG. So if you look at EC2-SG is the logical name, and the ID. ID, how the find, when you create the security group, it will come up with as a one ID. Okay, if you look at here the security group ID, so that is called attribute. Okay, even if you go and see the, also there are a couple of attributes available. So what are the attributes which is available? If you look, if you scroll up below, you can see a couple of attributes which is available here. That is called ID and ARN availability zone. This is for the specific EC2 instance. Even if you go and create a security group, Terraform, uh, create security group. If you enter here, if you can see, this is the syntax would be the to, this is the syntax to create the EC2 instance. If you can see resource AWS security group, you scroll down. So this would be the basic syntax to create the security group. If you scroll down below, if you scroll down below, you can see these are the attributes which are available ID. So ID of the security group. That's why I'm taking as a here. My attribute is ID. Okay, that is the VP security group attribute. So argument. So if you look at the other one which I'm taking as subnet ID. So what is menu subnet ID? So each availability zone having the one subnet ID. Sorry. So each availability zone having one subnet ID. Now I would like to create my servers to three availability zones. That's why here I'm using as a element. So inside of element I'm declaring var.subnet, and the count is count.index. So let me explain what is this index. Okay, if you go back and see here, if you scroll down below, here I'm specifying as a variable, and I'm specifying as a type is list. So default, so each available, so if you look at, I'm specifying three availability zones inside my the uh, variable. Okay, so if you look at the square brackets, I'm saying three subnets, three availability zone subnet details. If you go back and see the console, so these are three subnets which I am available is availability zone have. If you look at EU West A one subnet group, EU West A one subnet group, and this is the 2B, and this would be the 2A and 2B and 2C. If you go back and see here, so that's why I'm taking as a three availability zones details I'm keeping as a inside list within the square brackets. Okay, if you look at, let me go back and see the Terraform code. So how I'm taking subnet ID is called element. This is called everything called list. Where that subnet means this why, because the data type is the list. So element list comma index. If you go back and see the Terraform code how it is actually, first let me talk about the list. In Terraform we have a called list function. So what is mean by list function? So let takes an arbitrary number of arguments and return to the list of containing those values in the same order. Okay, if you observe the below example, so what does mean saying list, and inside we have a brackets, they have three values available, that is called a comma b comma c. So if you look at the output is come output is showing inside the square brackets is showing as a same order a comma b comma c. Okay, this will work into that before Terraform 0.12. So before 0.12 means we have a 0.11, 0.10 also available, 0.9 also available. This will exactly work for the before 0.12. So if you look at this is the they're saying Terraform 0 to above, this is the one. Okay, if you look at after 0.2 and 0.12, so it is saying here we are not specifying any other list data type. So we are specifying just for the square bracket. Inside the square brackets I'm specifying the values a comma b comma c, but the output also it will come with the square. So if you look at the output will come with both ways a comma b comma c within the square bracket. The only thing data type we are calling as a within the square brackets, here I'm literally specifying as my data type is list and brackets a comma b comma c. Okay, okay, so let's see let's okay, that is the behavior. Okay, so Terraform before 0.12 and Terraform 0.12. So this is the list we have to specify like that. That's why I'm declaring as everything inside my brackets. Let's go back to the variable. So if you can see everything I'm keeping as a, so inside square brackets. So I'm saying three available zone. That's I want to create my servers three available zone. Okay, for example, if you don't want to create a three available zone, let's take it out this way. The server is going to create only two available zones. It's depend upon your requirement. So okay, that is the called list. Okay, the output will come with a comma b comma c. Okay, let's talk about the element. Okay, okay, if you look at element function, we have one more element function which is available in Terraform. So if you look at the example here, element list comma index. If you go back and see syntax, okay, this is the data type which I'm using list. So this is all list value. Okay, if you go back and see my syntax, element and where that index would is the considered as a list, and the count on my index, that is everything as index. The syntax means what is the syntax? If you click here element element and bracket inside, what is the this all called list comma index, that is the same syntax which I am taking as a here element list comma index. You can see here, right? So you observe, right? Element comma list comma index, that is the syntax which I am using. Okay, let's consider as a, okay, let me go back and see how this is going to work. So here, okay, any if you use the index, okay, for example, the index always start with zero based one. Okay, if you come down below, if you observe the example which I am using for the element, and this everything called inside the value is list. Let's go back and see Terraform code variable. These are all called list, all subnet information which is keep it as a list. If you can see, okay, here the values, okay, it start with zero means G, a value is 0 and b value is 1, c value is 2. Okay, here this what is this value? This is called index value. This is all this is all everything is available list. Okay, so when you say index, it start with 1. What does mean? It will start with 0 is 0 is nothing but a, b is nothing but a 1. Okay, this is the index value 1. That's why it come up with as a output would be b. For example, if you keep it as a 2, okay, this is the 0, this is the 1, and this is the 2. So it will start with output as a C. Okay, that's why uh, that's why it will work as a element list index. Okay, if you scroll down below, if you look at the other example showing, okay, so now we have three values available inside. This is the value 0. One is one is nothing but a B, two is nothing but a C, but the index value is 3, but we have only 0, 1, 2. Now in this case, how it's going to work, let's see. Okay, if they give, if you look at the what the saying here, if the given index is greater than the length of the list of the index, so what will happen, it's going to wrap it around by taking the index module in the list. What is nothing but a round robin. Okay, if you keep it as 0 is nothing but a, B value is 1, C value is 2. Again, it start with here. Okay, 3. 3 means A value. That's why we have C the A value. If we keep it as a 4, again it will come to here. It will come up with the value is the B. Okay, that's the way it will going to work. Index element list index. Okay, okay. I hope you understand the what is the difference between list and index. So if you go back and see, so we don't want to specify this one, but why? Because I'm using as a Terraform 12, so I don't want to keep as a my data type. Okay, this is going to this is the way it's going to work. Okay, let me go ahead and run the, I'm using as a Terraform 12, so I'm using a Terraform 12 to filter and let's say enter. So I'm using a Terraform 12. Okay, let me go ahead and run Terraform. Let me run the Terraform first in it. So it's going to download the required plugins. So based on the provider, see the Terraform has been completed successfully. Now let me go ahead and run the Terraform apply. Let me go ahead and say yes. It's going to create two resources. If you go to the console, you can see here. So you can see one resource is creating now. Why? Because I'm my count value which I'm keeping as a EC2 count. So inside variable I'm keeping as a, so one at the moment. Let me create this one. Then after that I'll go with one more one. Okay. So it will take few minutes of time. Now we can see server is creating. Now we can see created successfully. If you go back and see, so if you go back and see, I'm using as a one variable. Uh, Now I would like to go with the 2. Now we can, I would like to go with 3. Okay, let me save again. Now if you go back and see, we have only one service created. Now I would like to create 3 servers by using same syntax. So by using count variable. Okay, let me go ahead and run the Terraform apply again. You can see I changed it as a from 1 to 3 now here, my variable. That is my issue to count. I'm calling as a here count or count argument. This will take few minutes. Now we can see it's going to create a 2 more resources. So let's go ahead and see what is going to create. Let's scroll up again. So you can see one more EC2 instance creating. If you scroll up, it's going to create one more EC2 instance. Let me say yes. When we say yes, if you go ahead and refresh again, you can see one more server is creating. But let's see where it's going to create. Let me filter as a running. If I'm using as a filter running, so it will show all the, now it's creating, still it is creating. So you can see now it's got created, it's already created one server earlier. Now it is creating two servers. You can see here, if you scroll up, you can see 2A and 2B and 2C. Earlier it was created the 2A, now it is creating with the 2B and 2C. You can see here all the availability zones. So you can see this value here. Now we can see the each availability zone is going to create one individual server. Okay. Now that's okay, but this is what we want. But if you look at the naming conversion is not really good. So I would like to change for the naming conversion. So I don't want to go with the dev sales for the all the EC2 servers. I don't want to keep same name. I want to keep it as a different name. So in that case, what I'm going to do, if you look at my syntax here, how the name is going to create, name is equal to var.environment var.product. Okay. If you go back and see my variable, what is the name here? Actually, this is the two variables which I am using, environment dev and the sales. If you go back and see, I want to change it as a different way. Okay, let me keep it as a indexing one. If you go back and see, so if you keep it as a count to dot index, if I keep it a count dot index, let's see what is going to happen. If I run the Terraform apply again, now we can see three is to change. So what is going to change? If you go up, you can see, if you scroll up, you can see the tag name is going to change. So dev sales hyphen 2. If you scroll up, it's going to change different one. The other two as well. If you can see 0 to 1. Let's say yes. Let's see what is going to happen. When you say yes, you go to the console. You can see. Uh, so you can see now it will start with 0, 1, 2. Okay. Now I already discussed. We discussed earlier. So the index base always start with 0. Now I don't want to keep this one as a 0. I would like to go with 1, 2, 3. In that scenario, what is going to do here? It will start with 0. Okay, index. Now I would like to keep it. If I keep it as a plus 1, let's see what is going to happen. Let me save it again. Let me say Terraform apply. If you can see the tags is now it's going to change 2, 3, something 1, 2, 3. If you say yes, if you go back and see, if we go back and see console, so it's going to change 1, 2, 3. You can see now naming convention also changed by based on the index. So 1, 2, 3. If we specify plus 1, it will start with 1. Okay, this is fine. Now if you can see three servers which is created as per our requirement, it will create as a each availability zone within the US to a region. Okay. Now what is going to, let me go ahead and change the 3. Now we have a 3 available here. I would like to keep it as a 6. Okay. I want to create a 3 more servers. Okay. Let's see what is going to happen. Okay. Now if I say Terraform apply now, now my count value I have changed it to from 3 to 6. It was 3, which is created absolutely fine. So each availability zone. Now like to, if I keep it as 6, let's see what is going to happen. So if you can see, it's going to create a 3 more resources. If you scroll up, so you can see it's going to create a 1 more EC2 instance, 5 and 4, 6 also is going to create. Let's say yes. If I say yes, let's see what is going to happen here. You can see it's already created 4, 5. So if you keep on refresh, so you can see now it is created one more server called dev sales 4. Where it is created, it's started with A, and you can see now you can see 6 instances created, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you can see now all the servers where is created, it will start with different servers, so 2A, 2A, and 2B, 2C, 2C. Okay. Now each availability zone it start with a different server. How this is going to work? It's based on the based on the list and index element list index. If we go back, so this is the behavior. Okay, this is the behavior. It's going to work. So default behavior always 0. This is the 0 value, and this is the 1. This is the 2. If we keep it as a 3 index, means it's going to start with again A. So that is called round robin. Okay, and also the people will call it a rapid round. Okay, so that's the way we have to create multiple EC2 instance by using the count argument. That is a meta argument we can use as a we can use in resource level or module level. I hope you guys like my video. So if you likes my video, please subscribe my channel. So I'm going to keep all the Terraform code and all the respective links in my description. Okay, if you have any doubts, please keep all the comments in comment section. I'll come back to you. I'll reply to you. Thank you.